Hello, everyone. Welcome back today. I'm so excited to introduce to you someone who's redefining what real estate agents can be. Very inspiring. Laressa is more than just transactions. She's a content creator, template designer, and Canva ambassador. If you want to build your personal brand that shows up, adds value, and draws people in, you want to hear her story. Let's go. Laressa Ngoeun is a licensed realtor based out of Alberta, Canada. She is a creator at heart, a YouTube content creator, Etsy shop owner, Flow Desk partner, and Canva ambassador. Driven by her do-it-yourself spirit, she rose into real estate at the early age of 21, y'all. She embraced design and content marketing to grow her brand, and now she helps other agents level up with her templates, tutorials, and authentic storytelling. Laressa, welcome. How are you?
Hello. I love that intro. Thank you so much, Shonnie. I'm feeling it right now. I'm super
Yeah.
excited to be here, and I'm so thankful, how to have this honor to be here with you. This is just incredible. It's amazing how, I'm here in Alberta, you're in Atlanta, but it's like we can connect because, really because of this company and this platform. So, what do you want to dive
Absolutely.
into?
Yeah, my first question is I know that we all have a story on our journey into how we got into real estate. And you started very young, 21 years old. So, can you give us a little bit of information of how you got into the business?
For sure, for sure. Yeah, so I started to study for my real estate license, I think around like 19 to 20. So it took me about a good year and a little bit to actually get my license. Reason being is because, well, I like to call it, the worldwide panini press, the pandemic times. So when I started my license, my learning aspect of that, it was kind of just like in the beginning of the pandemic. So that kind of put like a little ruffle in my feathers because it kind of went from in person to online. So it was kind of like everything was kind of up in the air for me. But it took me about a year to get my license officially. And then I got licensed at 21. And the funny thing is, I was supposed to, hang my license with a local brokerage. But
Mhm.
it's very interesting how the YouTube algorithm works, how sometimes it will just show you
Yeah.
videos without
Mhm.
you asking, but it knows intuitively. And lo and behold, I came across the video from Mike Sherrod, and that kind of put me down the rabbit hole of seeing this cloud-based brokerage.
Yeah.
And I was kind of a crossroads as to whether I should, hang my license with a fully established local real estate brokerage with people
Mhm.
who I knew that had the experience, or be young, dumb, and naive and go with this cloud based brokerage that people were saying that wasn't a real thing. But,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me be the young and dumb one and let me see where this could go. Because when I looked at this model and this opportunity, I was like, this is an opportunity for me to be essentially international while still being in a small town. So even though I'm
Right.
in Alberta, Canada, I'm in a very small town, which is currently no more than like 10,000 residents. So very small farm town. And I just saw that as an opportunity to be, a small town girl with a worldwide vision. So that kind
Yeah.
of led me down EXP. So EXP really is officially my first real estate brokerage, and I've been here for the last 5 years. And throughout the pandemic, it was a time for all of us. I'm sure you know that, Shawnee.
Oh my gosh.
And
Yes.
also, with me being young and new in the industry, I had to find a way to one, during the pandemic, find a way to be face to face with people without actually being face to face, and
Yeah.
two, trying to find a way to create that credibility as a young new agent. Because honestly, who's going to trust me, right? Because I'm young. So
Brand new,
that kind
young.
of that kind of led me down the path of social media and YouTube. So when I first started out, I was just on Instagram because I found at that time, 3 4 years ago, building a profile and a brand on Instagram was much easier to build that momentum versus building it on YouTube first. But my kind of strategy with that was building, my brand on Instagram and trying to create that attraction. And from Instagram, I
Right.
was basically funneling all of that traffic to my YouTube. So at the time, I had a real estate channel, like an actual real estate channel. But
Yeah.
because for me, I'm in a small town, I didn't have the luxury of, because in a small town, we don't really have new construction or big, beautiful homes like you, Shani. So very much
Yeah, we have a lot of
obsolete
that
here.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, very much obsolete here. So my strategy, instead of doing, the big, nice property tours, which I couldn't do, I kind of went the route of the more educational route of like, just the basic, how to buy a house, the cost of living, how to put your house up for sale, things like that. So very educational type of content. And
Brilliant. That was
right?
smart. That was smart
Mm-hmm.
because you could have easily said, ah, I can't do this. I don't have these options. But you decided, okay, let me figure something else out. And people love education like that. How do you do this or how to do this? Just typing those words into your into Google, you'll see so many different things. It's like a very popular way to start out with someone trying to figure something out. That was brilliant, Larissa.
Thank you. And I honestly I recommend that for agents who are wanting to start YouTube because again, keep in mind that YouTube is owned by Google and if you're playing in their arena by their rules, because really with the educational content, I consider it to be kind of evergreen because as you said, people are going into Google or YouTube and literally putting in that sentence of how to buy a house in whatever market or the
Right.
cost of living in whatever market. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can create a video to basically answer that question, people are going to click on it and watch it. And YouTube
Yes.
and Google is going to push out that piece of content because people are searching for it, right?
Yeah, that was so good. That's so great because I know for a lot of people, especially during that pandemic, it we were just behind the computer, like in front of the computer, behind the keyboard, doing stuff. And you that's is that when things started to really open up for you because at the time people just didn't have anything else to do anyway. So learning how to do something was just the thing to do, right?
For sure, that definitely got me deals because I mean, as you said, people were really stuck at home. What are they going to do? So at that time, it didn't matter whether it was real estate content or I think it was the time where everybody who was just creating content, period, in
Yeah.
whatever industry, that's when things popped off for
Yeah.
people, in my opinion. But the
Mm-hmm.
funny thing is, despite having an audience with the intention of, trying to attract buyers and sellers, what
Mm-hmm.
was really happening behind the scenes, funny enough, was that I was actually getting the interest of other real estate agents asking me, Larissa, how are you doing this? What are you using to create your content? And my simple answer was Canva.
Right.
Because honestly, like I said, as being a young new agent, you're also broke. So you don't really have that marketing budget or really any kind of budget to hire an agency or somebody to do it for you. So really, I was, that DIY agent doing everything on Canva. Whether that was, creating my graphics for Instagram, creating, my CTAs, like my pop up visuals, call to actions within my videos on Canva, and, YouTube thumbnails, like everything that was graphic design that I needed to put out was all Canva. And I say this all the time. Without Canva, like I have no business doing business. So really, it was all
Wow.
Canva.
Yeah, I remember when I started using Canva. I don't remember the year because it's been so long now. But when I started using Canva, I was like, "This is so good," because you know I'm not a creative person. Like I don't do stuff like that. But with Canva, I became one. I'm like, "Oh, I really have great ideas." Like, I mean, I can put things together and it's kind of like pretty and cute, and it's captivating. I love Canva. Let's talk about that because Canva, you're good with Canva. You do things like Flowdesk and Notion, all these different things you're doing to help you with designing stuff for your business and for other agents. When did it really open up to where you were really doing it as you were pushing that more so than anything else? Like when did that start to happen for you?
I think I really started to really push a lot of momentum was probably around like 2023 because that's kind of when I kind of transitioned from, real estate production
Mhm.
into kind of like the content creation side of rather than helping a real estate
Yeah,
clients, I was helping a real estate agents. So in
yeah,
my mind, I'm indirectly helping real estate buyers and sellers by helping the real estate agent build that
very
brand so they
true.
can attract those
Yeah,
clients, right? So with Canva, keep in mind, I was using Canva, 2021, 22, but before, 3 years ago, like AI wasn't a thing versus what it is now, right? So I was using the very mild version of Canva, and now what it is today is just an absolute beast compared to, what
What
it
it was
was then.
before. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
And so I think it's really easy because if you go into Canva now, it's very easy to feel very frazzled and overwhelmed by everything, right? And so I think with Canva, you just want to you just want to nail the basics. And honestly, I say to agents, they first things first, you want to hone in your brand essence, right? So whether that be, your colors, your fonts, your logos, you want to have that kind of brand package because that way you can actually program with Canva Pro, you can program your own Canva brand kit so that when you go into Canva every day, you can just take somebody's design and just put your brand style on that template. So necessarily, like you said, you don't actually have to be this full graphic designer. You can just take what
Hmm.
somebody has and just add your own element to that, right?
That's right. That's what I love because that's what I was doing. I was just like, oh, typing in some stuff, and I'm like seeing all these different options, and I'm like, you know what? I like how that one looks. I'm going to start to kind of tweak it to what I feel like would represent me.
For
And
sure.
it was great. It was Canva really was a game changer for me in my business because as a real estate practitioner, you realize that marketing yourself and putting yourself out there, it needs to be captivating. And like you mentioned, we're not graphic designers. We're like real estate practitioners. That's not what I do. But Canva helped to kind of help me to design things to put my business out there, via social media and YouTube. Let's talk about your tutorials because this is a big deal for you now. Like in our group, when we think of like someone to teach us how to do things with YouTube and Canva and all these different tutorials and stuff, we think about you. You really made a name for yourself in a short amount of time. So when it comes to your tutorials and things like that, is there are there certain topics that you see that agents ask you about, especially more than anything else? Is there something that we just really need and we always ask you for?
Not necessarily. I think for me, well, what I say to this, for me, my YouTube channel is very much a live documentary of everything that I have personally learned. And then
Hmm.
I just make a tutorial so that I'm thinking that, somebody, if this was useful to me, I'm sure somebody else is going to find that useful, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, and I think one of the greatest, I would say, greatest underrated tool of Canva is probably going to be the aspect of creating Canva websites. So that came out probably maybe a year or two ago, but nobody was really making tutorials on that. And I know for real estate agents, we want to have that autonomy to be able to create marketing materials quickly and efficiently, especially for our real estate listings, right? And so I found a way to create a basically what I call a single page landing page for a property listing. So in this case, let's say you're marketing a property, and if you can create just this one single web page of everything that entails what the property is, what it has, the amenities in that neighborhood, and you create this one single landing page, you can then use that for your marketing purposes. And I think as a seller, like I would find it very impressive that my real estate agent went out of their way to make this marketing piece of material rather than just having a single static post on Instagram. And that makes it more exciting to
Yeah.
share that, that URL, let's say on Facebook or wherever, like they feel proud to share that because their agent is doing the most, honestly, right? And so what I found is that with Canva websites, that's been such a huge, it's been quite a niche for me, specifically on my channel, which is why I have a specific playlist for, Canva websites for real estate agents. So make sure you check that out. But
Oh,
it's,
man,
and it's
so
crazy because it's no coding, like there's no coding. It's just you drag and drop as you would and just
yes.
publish it as a website and you're done.
I love that. And so for you agents watching this, yes, you can do a website. And I think sometimes we see agents marketing their listing and we'll see that they'll have a website. And in our minds, we may say to ourselves, I wish I could do that, you know? And the reality is you can do
Mhm.
it. All you got to do is just go on YouTube and find Laressa. Find Laressa and find that tutorial and listen and then actually do it while Laressa is teaching you. I find that to be really helpful too. Like if I'm doing a tutorial, I'll listen and actually do the work at the same time. Because now you're going through the motions with the person who knows it the most, with the subject matter expert.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's why for me, that's why my when I film my tutorials, like it's one take. Like it's just me, camera, computer, Canva, one take. So what I recommend to agents is literally like open that video, open up
Mhm.
Canva and have me side by side and do it with me. That's like the easiest way.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. So now that you've become this, phenomenon, in my opinion, when it comes to Canva, you're so relatable, you're so easygoing. Now that you've done that, do you see anything else coming in the pipeline for you? Are you going to stay right here in this lane where you're, teaching us how to get in front of our audience? What else do you have going on?
For me right now, I think just being discipline to maintain that consistency is one. It's always really challenging to just to be consistent, and I think I'm still trying to build that momentum and trying to put my name out there, because really with Canva for real estate, it is a very specific niche. And with there's not that many real estate agents who are on YouTube just yet. But with this company and with this, even being on your channel here, like I would love to collaborate with the other agents within our group and to share and show agents like how easy it is to build a brand that is relatable to other people, because that's what is going to attract clients to you
Hmm.
ultimately, right? And I
Yeah.
think with, not to say with, the rise of cloud-based brokerages and even EXP specifically, we as agents have that actual autonomy to build a personal brand, because our company realizes and understands that the agent is the brand. Because honestly speaking, no consumer or client really cares what brokerage you are part of. As long as they see you, they know you, they like you, they trust you because they trust your content. Like if you were on YouTube, the funny thing about YouTube is when you are on YouTube and you give somebody that ability to book a call with you on Zoom, and then when they do book that call and they meet you over Zoom, and they are so excited because they're like, you are exactly like your videos, and that's what blows their mind. And so, for my real estate agents out there, yes, do Instagram, TikTok, all the things, but I think YouTube is always going to be that home base, and
Yeah.
it's really the only true authentic way where you can be yourself, because the camera doesn't lie. Like you can tell, right? That authenticity, right? And I
Hmm.
think, with YouTube specifically, you are able to shortcut basically the funnel of, incoming leads. Because if you put out a video of the process of how to buy a home in this area, this is
Hmm.
all the things, and then at the end of the video, you have a call to action, a CTA. If you say in that video, and if you want to book a call with me, link is down below, and the client, the prospect client does, you've basically just cut your entire workload in half, right?
Yeah.
Because you're not having to prospect, actively prospect. It's
Yes.
that passive prospecting that we
Uh,
like. And that's why YouTube is so powerful, whether
mhm.
it's for real estate or for agent attraction, right?
Right. And then with the YouTube, you know, when you're designing your YouTube page, you want to make sure it looks great. Just like, you go to someone's page and they have, I don't know, 80,000 subscribers, and you look at their page and you look at the design of it, it's appealing, it's attractive. But before you get to YouTube, you have to figure out, like, what is my page going to look like? Who am I speaking to? What do I want them to think when they
Mm-hmm.
come here? And so that's where you have the Canva, that way you can design things to make it look well. But then when you have everything together, like you say, you have your YouTube page together, and you're telling them, hey, call to action, CTA. Now you have to use things like Flow Desk, right? So that you can make sure that they can, you can reach them in different ways. But let's talk about that. I want to talk about Flow Desk,
Mm-hmm.
Notion, because you have, you as an agent, there's so many things you have to do, but you got to do things in sequential order, and you got to have some systems in place. And so, what does that look like for you? Like, how would you what would you share with the agent when it comes to them putting some things in place so they can go ahead and get in front of that camera, or get in front of their audience to speak to them? what should they be doing first? What is the play for that?
Love that question. So for me, let's say for Flowdesk, let's start with Flowdesk. Flowdesk is more so a marketing email campaign platform. So, what I like to use Flowdesk for is to give away freebies. So, in this case, if you're doing a real estate channel, let's say you are doing a video for sellers, how to list your home. This is the 10-step process. And the call to action in that video could be, hey, if you want my seller's guide, link it down below. And that link is basically a link to a Flowdesk form. So that Flowdesk form is going to capture, name and email. So you have a triggered email automation that is set up within Flowdesk that is going to take that, contact information and then immediately send out that person the real estate guide that you had promised in your video. So it creates that automation aspect of that while also, really building up, an email list, which is what you want to have. And I
Yeah,
always tell people that, it doesn't matter how many followers you have on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, whatever it is, if those platforms go under, they black out, we don't own any of those followers or those subscribers. But
that's true.
if you are actively building a email list, you're able to send out, let's say, a weekly real estate newsletter to, drip on those people until they are actually ready to one, maybe book a call with you to learn about how to actually sell or buy a home with you. So,
Yeah.
so I guess Flowdesk really, in my sense, is kind of that kind of background agent that's working for you while you're sleeping, right? So you want to
Right.
make sure you
Okay.
have that. And so that's important because first you want to create that content, creating that content, then you want to kind of funnel somebody somewhere, which is, with
Hmm.
Flowdesk. And for Notion, this is for me, I've been using Notion for maybe the last 4 years. And what I like to think of it as is basically a productivity platform. But essentially what it is, I like to think of it as a whiteboard slash, digital filing cabinet. If anything, it's really like, Google Drive plus Google Docs, Google Calendar. Like it's a three in
Yeah.
one kind of system. It's a little bit more advanced. There is quite a bit of a learning curve for that. But for me specifically, what I use Notion for
Hmm.
is to plan my videos. So
Hmm.
for me personally, I like to batch create my videos, meaning that I like to sit down. I like to think of, 3 to 4 videos in one setting and then film those videos in one setting. So I like to batch the same kind of task together. That way I can be consistent and not burn out. So
But that's
with,
a lot though, Larissa. Like
oh yeah.
batching, you spend a whole entire day doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
Pretty good.
they like to, I think they call it, there's batching and there's baking, where people like to do one video a week and like, do it that way. But I was like, nah, I need to batch it. So,
Get it out the way.
because honestly, Shani, it's a lot of work for us ladies because we got to get ready, we got to do our hair, we got to do our makeup.
What we're gonna wear? Yes.
Exactly.
Get our
So I
mind
spend
right. Like, okay, it's happening today.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I use Notion because I spend, a couple days, flushing out my video ideas, and then I take, maybe one full day to film all those, and then if you have an editor, you can just send all of that stuff to that editor. But for me, because I film tutorials, like I said, I do it in one take. It's really not that easy. I mean, not that hard to edit those videos. So that's kind of my system. It's like you plan it, you film it, then you edit it, and then you do the SEO, which is basically, prepping that video on YouTube to have it go out live. So that's like your title, your thumbnail, your video description, all those things. And all of those tasks I keep track of inside Notion.
That
So,
is so good because when you're doing stuff, for me, I was on the same thing as you. And then I hire a virtual assistant. So when I hired my virtual assistant, I had all these things in place. I used, Canva and Trello and things like that. So when I hired her, I had stuff in a place where she could find it. And she went in there and then she learned how to do things the Shawnee way, you know. And but if I didn't have those systems, it would have been really hard to onboard her. It would have
mhm.
been more challenging. It was taking longer to do that. But because I had these systems in place, I had already had a Canva account and I had already started doing things so she could see, okay, she likes this font, she likes this particular color red, And then with Trello, I keep things in there too. It's kind of like, okay, this is what we're doing today, what needs to get done, what hasn't gotten done, what has to be released or to be reviewed. So everything has its place to where now you can just literally, you know what you're going to do today. Okay, I'm going to film. You know what that looks like, or I'm going to have an interview with such and such. You already have that together. So you know what your day is going to look like every single day. You have it right there. And I think that's really important for agents to know too. It's really about being organized in your own way. Like you can't have stuff everywhere and then think you're going to be productive because then you're going to get burnt out. So you
Yes.
got to have systems in place and be organized in your own way. And that way you can be productive and you can actually get some rest at night without having so many things on your mind because everything is right here. I think that is so amazing that you are able to put these systems in place and to really grow your business because you got licensed to sell real estate, not knowing that, later on down the line, years later, you would find this to be the most exciting, profitable, and it just made sense because you're in Alberta, Canada. This is so good, Larissa.
Thank you, Shonnie. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely say too, like honestly, I got into real estate thinking that I was gonna sell some homes, which I did.
Okay.
But, it led me down this path and it's created a niche for me that I didn't even know existed. And,
Ah,
I always credit this to one of our good friends, Benita in the group here.
oh
She
yeah.
was one of the people that was like, Larissa, you gotta start a YouTube channel and show people how to use Canva. And at that time, I was like, Benita, I don't know if anybody is gonna watch my videos.
Mhm.
But 3 years later, here we are, and we're still on it. So,
Yes, you are such a rock star. Oh my goodness. So, if anyone, if there's an agent out there who's like, okay, this is great, I love this information, but I still don't know where to start, what would be like the first step you would give them as they're coming into the business, they want to sell real estate, and they want to really put themselves out there and market themselves. What should they start? What's the first thing you think they should do, in your opinion?
well, I have a very shortcut, unconventional answer. The easiest thing you can do is to partner with me and Shawnee.
Come on.
Hmm.
I mean, seriously, because the reality is, and I learned this a long time ago. I've been in business for a long time, over 23 years, and I realized that relationships really matter. Um, who you surround yourself with really helps you. So if you want to be a plumber, you hang with the plumbers, right? If you want to be a successful real estate agent, you hang with the ones who are successful. And the reality is, in real estate, a lot of the culture is agents keep it to themselves. Their
Yeah.
hands are shut. I'm not giving you nothing. That is not our culture. And so I realized that right away, which is why I decided to move my brokerage over to EXP because I needed to be around other brokers, other practitioners that didn't mind saying, hey, Shonnie, maybe you should do this. Let me help you. Here's what I did. It worked for me. Why don't you do it? Instead of looking at me like, she's competition. I can't give her nothing because she's going to take my opportunity away from me. And so I love that you answered it that way because that's the reality. Like simply just align yourself with the right people first and then watch how things begin to unfold. Because like you mentioned, Bonita was the one who kind of said, hey,
Hmm.
got something special here. Why don't you do this instead? My goodness.
Right?
Incredible.
And I feel like I said, I credit a lot of my growth and success to, first of all, EXP, because without EXP there would be no Wolfpack. And within the Wolfpack, I have just met the most incredible people, whether that has been in person, at EXPCon and
Yeah.
even online. And
Yeah.
it's if you know, you know, Shawnee. If you know, you know. And if the
Yeah.
people want to know, we can tell them. They just got a
Yes.
partner. That's
That's
it.
it. That's it.
That's
Just
it.
partner with us. And so, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. For you agents that are watching, if you are not on track to hit your goals and you would like for both of us to work with you to make sure that you hit your goals consistently year over year, you really could be in that agent group that makes $100,000 a year. You can. If you want to see how that works, if you want that to happen for you in your future, just click the links below. You'll see Larissa's link below. You'll see mine as well. And we'd love to chat with you and figure out what can we do to assist you and get you to where you need to be to meet your goals. Yeah.
Wonderful. Can I just say one last thing so we can wrap this
Please.
up?
Yes. I was getting ready to
Okay.
ask you to do that. Please.
Okay. EXP is where we're sad, but if you want to be a savage, join the wolf pack.
Hey. I forgot to mention. Oh, she's a songwriter too, y'all. She is a songwriter too. But yeah, so yeah, click the link below, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in, Laressa. Thank you so much for your time today, girl.
Thank you.
Okay, y'all take care.
Bye.